a cinematic psychological true crime story. Some tragedies don't begin with a scream. They begin with silence. A slow drip of something toxic into the everyday, a shift in tone, a look held too long. That's how it was in Willow Creek. By the time anyone heard the crash, the fire had already started. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. This isn't about flames, it's about the spark. It had been 3 days since Jennifer told Daniel she was done. 3 days since he stopped eating. 3 days since Linda started sleeping in the guest room again. Without explanation, without a word. And 3 days since Mark Johnson began receiving anonymous notes. Short sentences, neatly typed. Your wife isn't loyal, they meet at night, behind your back, always behind your back. Each note arrived folded in half. No return address, postmarked locally. At first, Mark laughed. Then he didn't. On the 4th day, Daniel showed up at Jennifer's door again. This time she didn't open it. She watched him from behind the curtain as he rang the bell, then knocked, then pounded. He stood outside for 12 minutes. 12 minutes of waiting, whispering her name through the wood, begging, promising he could be better, that he'd leave Linda, that they could be together, that none of it mattered except her. Jennifer stared at him, not with pity, not with fear, with cold, clinical detachment, because Daniel was no longer a man to her. He was a study, a slow burn unraveling of ego and obsession. That night, Mark confronted Jennifer. It was in the kitchen. He held one of the notes in his hand, waving it like a weapon. Is it true? Jennifer raised an eyebrow. Which part? Don't play games with me. I don't have to, she said calmly. You play them all on your own. He grabbed her wrist. I asked you a question. She didn't flinch. What would you do if I said yes? Mark's eyes darkened. His voice dropped. I'd bury him. She smiled. Funny. You never cared before. Mark let go of her wrist, stormed out and slammed the door. Jennifer returned to her wine, unbothered. Across the street, Daniel sat in his garage again, staring at the same wrench he'd held weeks ago. Only now it meant something else. He didn't feel like a man anymore. He felt like a shadow of himself, something discarded, left to rot. Jennifer had taken everything. His love, his pride, his control. And now, worst of all, she was moving on. Mark had posted a photo on social media that morning, a date night picture, a wine bar, Jennifer's hand resting on his, a caption that read, "Some things are worth fighting for." Daniel stared at the photo until his phone overheated in his hand. Linda, meanwhile, was 2 steps ahead. She hadn't told Daniel she knew everything, because she wanted to watch him break. But now, she was tired of waiting. So she did what she'd always known she would eventually do. She made the call. Detective Elliot Mitchell picked up on the second ring. A no-nonsense man. 30 years on the force, trained to know when something didn't smell right. Linda introduced herself politely. I think something terrible is going to happen in Willow Creek, she said. And then she told him everything. Not the affair, the obsession, the threats, the notes to Mark handwritten by Daniel. Yes, she'd found drafts in the garage, the hidden key he'd copied to Jennifer's house. Yes, she'd seen it on his keychain, the late-night drives, the online searches. Yes, she'd checked his browser history. Detective Mitchell listened quietly, then asked only one question. Why now? Linda's voice didn't tremble, because I know how this ends. Jennifer received the package 2 days later. A white box, no note, no sender. Inside, a single black rose, artificial, plastic, cold. She knew who sent it. She didn't need to ask. That night, she installed a second lock on the door. Mark, sensing the shift, grew paranoid. He started keeping a gun in the nightstand drawer, something he'd always mocked before. He installed cameras, changed the Wi-Fi passwords, started checking Jennifer's texts while she slept. He didn't trust her anymore, but he didn't want to lose her either. Jennifer noticed and did nothing to stop it, because letting him spiral was easier than explaining the truth. She didn't care. Not about Daniel, not about Mark, not about anyone but herself. She liked watching them fracture. It made her feel real. Daniel by now had started talking to himself. Long conversations in the garage, in the car, in the shower. He wrote pages of letters to Jennifer, none of which he mailed. He stopped showing up to work, missed calls, voicemails, fired without ceremony. Linda said nothing. She just cleared the shared calendar, deleted his birthday reminder, and went on with her life. Then, the night everything changed. It was a Thursday. Storm clouds were heavy, the sky bloated and bruised. Jennifer had gone to the store alone. Mark was working late. The neighborhood was quiet. Daniel followed her from the grocery store, not aggressively, casually, like a friend who just happened to be headed the same way. She didn't notice, or if she did, she didn't care. When she pulled into her driveway, he parked a few houses down, watched as she opened the trunk, struggled with bags, then approached her. "Need help?" She turned, slowly, eyes cold. "No." He stepped closer. "Please." Jennifer stood still. Then, with perfect calm, "If you come near me again, I'll call the police." Daniel froze. Everything inside him went quiet, then shattered. What happened next, the reports would say, took less than 3 minutes. Daniel forced his way into the house. Jennifer screamed. Neighbors later said they heard something crash, something shatter, glass, maybe furniture, maybe bones. She fought him. She hurt him. He bled, but she screamed. Only once. By the time Mark got home, the house was dark, too dark. The front door was open. He called her name. No answer. Then he stepped inside and slipped. His shoes skidded across something slick, something warm. He turned on the light. And there, in the living room, surrounded by broken wine glasses and blood, was Jennifer, eyes open, mouth slack, neck twisted, unmoving. Daniel was gone! Detective Mitchell arrived 20 minutes later. He'd been expecting something like this, just not so soon. Linda stood across the street, wrapped in a blanket. She didn't cry, she just whispered, "I told you." Mark, handcuffed to keep him from attacking the officers, sat on the porch, sobbing. And Daniel? He vanished. No phone, no car, just gone. To be continued in part 4, The Hunt. Let me know if you're ready for part 4, The Hunt, where everything spirals into chaos, secrets are exposed, and the psychological aftermath explodes into the inevitable conclusion.
If you found this story gripping, subscribe for more true crime cases that reveal the dark secrets behind everyday lives. Don't forget to like the video. It helps more people find these stories. And share this with someone who loves real-life mysteries, because sometimes the truth is more shocking than fiction.